58 years ago, Ford unleashed the very first Mustang, a car that became an icon overnight. Affordable, fast, stylish, seen in movies loved by millions, and by 1967, one Mustang in particular stole the spotlight: the Fastback. Its sleek roofline and muscular stance made it legendary, and in Bullet, the green Fastback would forever cement itself as the king of car chases. One day I'll build a Charger too. But fast forward 58 years later, I bought a 1967 Mustang Coupe. A good car, but not the one that kept me awake at night. So I decided to turn it into the Fastback I always wanted. Now, a lot of you have a few choice things to say about me doing this.
Hey, Sean, you know that's not a real Fastback, right? The VIN's always gonna say it's a coupe.
The VIN's a birth certificate, not a frickin' personality test. It was born a coupe and I'm just building the life it deserves.
The real collectors will laugh you off at the auction block.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not building an auction block then.
But it will never be numbers matching. You know, the original metal is sacred.
Yeah, neither are your knees, but you still walk fine, buddy.
The purists won't approve.
Moral of the story, guys, I'm gonna build whatever the I want.
So you guys already know that last episode I rebuilt this entire A-pillar because it was rotted inside and I punched a hole through it. And this is my first time looking at it since then and it looks pretty good. Now we gotta move on to the reason I had to do that is for this drip rail. Now it's called the drip rail because water drips on it and it slides it off the car, because when you open your windows when you're taking a puff of a cigarette or smoking or whatever you're doing to breathe in some flavored air, you can do that because it deflects the water away when you open the window. Now, I don't need drip rails. I don't smoke and I don't plan on smoking, but I do like the look of them. I like the chrome that goes on the outside. So I'm not gonna bore you again explaining how I do this, but basically you gotta just clean it, paint it, and weld it. So let's go.
So I began sanding the roof structure so I could weld on the drip rail, but then I had to go to Harbor Freight really quickly with Faith to get a few things.
Alright guys, so we got everything in the car loaded up.
This is a Bauer impact.
A high torque impact.
High torque impact.
With the battery.
With the battery. And you are gonna have a chance to win this all.
I was just scuffing this down a little bit with this Scotch pad, and you can see it's kind of textured right here. So I'm just gonna get the grinder and make all of this smooth before I actually paint it, just because I want that clean metal surface to weld to. When you're welding, you want a clean surface. If the metal's all pitted from whatever was on there before, the rust can come back even faster. So I grabbed the die grinder and the angle grinder and smoothed it all out and got it prepped for welding. Once the metal was ground clean, I wiped it down with acetone because there's always more dirt than you think. I even found this little spider crawling up my neck. Then I hit it with self-etching primer to protect the bare steel. I usually use weld-through primer, but grinding the weld spots after priming works just as well and it's way cheaper. And voila, we got some corrosion resistance for at least 5 years, and then it will probably start to rust again. It's just how it goes. And then I was just about to start laying down welds until I spotted something structurally wrong that I couldn't ignore. You know, I came out here today feeling confident I'm gonna start welding something bigger and finding more stuff wrong with this car. I don't know if I did this, like I'm gonna rewatch the footage to see, but I'm like looking at this. This is where the front driver's side door connects, right? You have your hinges that go onto right here and they screw in from the back. I was looking at this, and tell me if you guys can see this dent right here. Oh yeah, you can on camera. Look at this dent right here. I don't know where the hell that came from, but that's gonna cause a problem right there. And I don't know if I must have did that somehow, but I'm not really sure how I could have done that. And then right here, it's indented too. And then I'm looking at it even closer, and then look, it looks like somehow the metal's cracking from the pressure right here. This was something I just couldn't ignore. It feels like sabotage.
When I tell you it never ends, it never ends.
I don't know how the inner structure got this bad, and I don't know how I missed it before, but if I don't fix this, the door will never fit. So, like, I'm absolutely in shock right now because I didn't want to touch this, and I don't know how that dent got there. Like, that has to be hit hard to get dented that bad. So now I'm in this place where it's probably a good thing to fix this because as you guys can see, it is pitted. Do you guys see that pitting? So this is sandblasted right here.
And then the stuff the sandblast couldn't get, that's all pitting right there. And then if you even focus closer, you guys can see that crack in the metal. Now this actually sucks. You know, I'm a man of preparation. And I didn't want to touch this piece, guys. I was just going to put this in the storage collection for later on, but I do have this brand new piece that goes right here. Do I want to use the full thing? Absolutely not, especially after I welded that up there already from the last video. But I'm going to have to use this and put it in right here. God, guys, this just sucks. Like, it doesn't end, ever. So, looking at this piece closer, I just found that it has these brackets on the inside right here. These are the brackets I'm talking about, and luckily I do have those as well. So, the reason I have all these spare parts is because when I bought this Fastback conversion kit, when I brought it back from Kentucky, to convert this to a Fastback, it gave you everything. When I paid that $5 grand, it gave me all the individual parts, and I really never planned on using them, but I'm slowly learning that I'm using all of them because I'm just finding stuff like that. Like, I don't know how I didn't notice that before. I don't know if I could have caused that. Like, nothing dropped on the car, so I'm just so confused on how that got there. But I think I'm gonna cut this out. Oh my god. I think I'm gonna cut this out and weld a new piece back on there, which is the last thing I want to do, and it has to be dead on perfect because that's where the hinge for the door connects. So I gotta make sure I put it exactly in the same position.
The first step was marking every weld I needed to cut. I put a dot on each one, then drilled most of them out with a 1/4 inch bit. After that, I taped across the panel to lock in my measurements. Those squares in the metal have to line up perfectly when the new panel goes on, otherwise the door will never fit right. Once the tape was in place, I went back to drilling, this time with a spot weld cutter. It's basically a tiny circular blade that carves around the weld so you can peel the metal away. You know you hit it right when you see a little rust pop through. Then came the heavy grinder to slice the big sections and add a smaller grinder for the tight corners the big one couldn't reach. Finally, I pulled out my best friend, the air hammer. It makes quick work of stubborn panels, though it gets messy. Sometimes a hammer and a chisel are cleaner, but here the air hammer got the job done decently well until...
See, I want to disconnect it from this inner piece here, but I don't want to ruin this lip because I'm going to be reusing that to weld. So you got to be careful, but now it's fully separated. You can see when I move it like down here.
And just with a little movement side to side, I was able to pull it off.
Guys, looking inside of here is crazy. Like, to see this rust, to know this is everywhere on the car that I haven't touched, all the metal that I've left from 50 years, like, because I didn't have to replace it, nothing's wrong with it. Just to know there's rust inside of there is crazy. Like, you wouldn't see this. You would think it's rust-free from the outside because I sandblasted it. But when you look in those cracks where that metal is butted together, it's all rusted. Now let me give you a closer look. So this is where I drilled out all the spot welds. And obviously there's no rust there because it's welded. But where it's metal on metal, wow guys, look at that. That's creepy. So now I'm gonna prep this and basically try to figure out how this new piece will fit on because it has to be accurate.
So I used a few tools to start cleaning up that metal, and then I had to start prepping the new piece.
Trying to get this lined up with just measuring, these panels are made completely different from different stamps. It will never fit. So you gotta butt it up, and then when they're butted, cut a new line in it, and then that gap will be big, but it's good enough to fill with weld. Let me show you. So I just put a piece of tape, and now I'm gonna make the cut.
I followed the tape line and cut straight across with an angle grinder. The whole piece dropped right off. Then I lined it up against the old metal and saw it overlap, so I traced the line, cut it on the car, and this time the new panel fit perfectly flush. Once it was flush, I drilled all my plug weld holes, set the piece in place, and welded the bracket on solid.
This is completely welded in now, and I probably could have removed the painter's tape instead of catching it on fire while welding and breathing in that toxic stuff, but I hold my breath. Anyways, so our two pieces are right here. They're pretty much identical now. I could weld this in if I prep it a little bit, gotta grind the sides down, and I'm gonna lay a coat of paint on the inside and here because I don't want it to ever rust again, so I'm gonna put some self-etch, I'm gonna clean it down with some acetone, put some self-etch primer, and then I'll be safe to weld this in, and then I could put in an internal frame coating afterwards.
Then I used a little more self-etch primer before welding on final just to eliminate the chances of that rust ever coming back.
Alright, so while I'm waiting for this self-etch primer to dry down here and up here, I have something I had been dying to tell you guys, super exciting. So I went out to the store, I went to Harbor Freight and bought some of my favorite things. First up, we got this impact wrench kit with the battery and the charger, and it has over 1,000 foot-pounds of breakaway torque. That also comes with these deep well sockets, which were both standard and metric. Then I got a welding helmet for my welders. And on top of that, I got this Icon professional combination wrench set, which is arguably my favorite. And the reason I can't decide which is my favorite is because I also got these, which you see right here. These are 24 karat gold, 90 tooth ratchets from Harbor Freight. This thing is beautiful. You might want to just hang it on a wall and never use it. But I got a 3/8 inch drive, and I also got a 1/4 inch drive one. Now you're like, Anthony, why did you buy all this stuff? Well, it's for you guys as an appreciation. I want to give away this stuff to you as a thank you for supporting. So this little guy you see here, you have a chance to win, and it costs you nothing. Let me explain. Leave a comment. Tell me why you like this build, why you appreciate Fastbacks, a story, education, advice. Yell at me for doing something wrong. I don't care. You have a chance to win this. I'm picking one comment. I'm reading all of them. You have to have liked the video, you have to subscribe and leave a comment, and one of you is winning this. But have your notifications on so I can message you and actually get your details to send you this. Now listen, all this other stuff you see here, the bigger things, you have the highest chance to win, and let me explain why. In my last video, I gave away Visa gift cards. 11,500 people saw that video as of today. And guess what? Not one person supported the channel and bought merch. So no one won it. If one person would have bought it, they would have won. So how do you win this? Well, I made the coolest freaking hoodies that I get complimented on all the time. Blood, Sweat, and Gears. And I also put a whole bunch of other designs on the website below in case you don't like Mustangs. And if you want to support me, support my build, and help me build this dream car and keep making videos for you, the link is in the description. If you buy anything from that site, you have a high chance of winning this because not a lot of people will. That's just how the statistics go. You have a super high chance of winning this, and go check out the link in the description. Look at the hoodies, the shirts, and you guys are winning this. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. And now I gotta freaking finish welding this car because it never ends when I weld. So let's get back to welding. So I'm gonna come back out here in the morning and keep working because it's getting late, and but the hard part of this is really done. I got all of this welded on the side, got it all welded down here, and I just have to finish it up here tomorrow and then grind it all down, and then I'm gonna put this freaking drip rail in and show you guys how this goes in because it's a cool piece. I'm just so bored of doing metal at this point. I just want to put the engine in the car and do something mechanical. Like, this better be the last freaking metal piece I cut out of this car. Knock on metal. Alright, so it's the next day, and it's crazy. What is literally 1 second for you guys is a whole day, a whole night. So I'm gonna get grinding and finish this off, and then I'm gonna weld that freaking drip rail on. So let's go.
So I grinded and welded some more, and I'm so sick of saying those words now.
Alright, so here is my drip rail. These things aren't cheap, and I already kind of bent it a little bit, but it'll be fine. The chrome piece that you see on the nice cars gets attached to this after it's painted, and you don't really want to bend this up. And I accidentally bent it up a little bit, and that's just being raw and honest with you. I'm not perfect at this stuff. I accidentally stepped on it. You can kind of see the bend here. So we'll make that work later on, I'm sure. But we have to fit this in here, and it's already kind of fitting okay, but we do have one major problem, and I think I thought of a solution. See, right here is the back of the drip rail, and you guys see how this quarter panel right here doesn't fit flush against that? That is not good. That is not how this is supposed to be. Now, approaching the other side of the Mustang, you can see I welded this one on, and it's nice and it's butted perfectly. And that is simply due to a few reasons. One, admitting it honestly, I didn't put this car together perfectly. I didn't have all the right measurements to go off of. Guys, like, I'm building a car out of many pieces, so it's not going to be perfect. Now, the second reason that this one is fitting poorly is because this is all reproduction parts. And if you've never worked on a car, you'll quickly learn once you buy these parts that it does not fit right. These parts, they look good, but they're not perfect. None of them are. And I promise you, when you work on a car, you'll find the same thing. The original stamp is always gonna be better. So could it be that I put it in a little bit off by a few millimeters? Yes. But is it also the fact that none of this metal is accurate? Yes. So here is how I'm gonna fix this and put this drip rail in. So right here, this quarter panel is too much this way, and I don't wanna move it at all down here because the door gap is right, and there's really not a whole lot of movement you can even do here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a line down here and then move this piece over and then fill this with weld, blend it in super nice. Now that is a little intimidating because this is a visual piece on the car. This is not hidden down here in the inner structure going to be covered by a fender. This is the quarter panel. This is visible. This is the iconic part of the Mustang. So I got to do a pretty good job at welding, blending that, and making it strong and structurally sound. But first things first, let's get this drip rail welded on.
Okay, I've been saying it this whole video, drip rail, drip rail, drip rail. So let's start. The drip rail was too long on the bottom side here, so I actually had to trim off a little bit to make it fit flush and perfect, and I did this on the other side too. These things are just not accurate at all, and every car is going to be a little different, so I cut that off. Then I used a C-clamp to push in the quarter panel so I could put a self-tapper in, and I accidentally put a dent in it. Rookie mistake, but I will have to fix that later.
And now I have to do some body work there. See, learn from me. I just want to tell you that these TV shows that are picture perfect, they get everything done in 10 minutes, and you're like, how the... Yeah, they're not like that. Let the genuine moments and honesty reflect right now.
I used a die grinder and a metal bit to get all the paint out of the plug weld locations, and then I did a process of hammering, tapping, and welding over and over and over again. Here's what the weld looks like up close.
But I kind of want to show you guys what I see during the mask because the camera doesn't catch it, so I'm going to put the camera through this mask and show you what the puddle looks like when I'm welding. And that finishes up the last weld on the drip rail. I'm super happy I have that in because again, that was just an annoying piece that needed to go in that I've been procrastinating on, and it's nice to finally see metal being added to the car after all of this. Now, I actually got a couple questions for you guys watching. I have to somehow close this gap way better and make it tighter, and I'm scared to weld the quarters to the car until I get this looking better. The question I have for you guys, how do I fix this gap right here? Do you see this? I'm not really understanding how this is here, and these are reproduction end caps here. So I just want to know, is this gap supposed to be closed on the Mustang, or is it supposed to be open? Because that feels like a lot of metal to move to get that to fit. And it's the same for this side right here. This dog right here is who I'm naming my car after because his growl is, he's a good dog, but his growl sounds like a Mustang, so he is getting named. My car is getting named after him, and it's called the Mustang Enzo, right buddy? And then the next car that I build on this channel is gonna be a Charger. I have to have the Mustang and I have to have the Charger, and that Charger is gonna be called the Champ because this is Champ. We call him Champion, and he's an amazing puppy too. Now I'm gonna end it here today. I'm gonna grind and I'm gonna do all this in the next video and stuff with the quarter panels. But I just wanna say thank you so much for watching, and remember, like, subscribe, and comment, and support the channel checking out the merch in the description, and you have a chance at winning this, and this. Do good, be good, God bless, and go Buffalo Bills.